What it do, what it is. Welcome to Gemini season. Yep, we are here, y'all. This is definitely a Gemini season in 2025, unlike any year. I can literally say this about any year. Though I could say that any year is unlike any other year, but for the purpose of this pacing, this year is going to be unlike every other year. And I'm actually going to break it down for you. What exactly makes this year different and why you want to be excited. Okay, this year to me feels like the introduction to a brand new season series. Maybe when you were born, you grew up watching your parents and their parents watching a season series on a network that has been established. And it's done. That network is over. Now there's a brand new network. We are so fucking back. Let's go. So, we're operating on a brand new network with new programs, new characters, original new content. I mean, as you can see, there's been so many remixes and fan fictions of content that's been here for 30 years. So everything moving forward into next year is a renaissance. You have made it to the renaissance that's going to take over the rest of this decade in almost virtually every field of entertainment, and outside of entertainment too. All right, relative to technology, amongst other things. So, with Saturn at 0 degrees, Uranus that's ready to be 0 degrees, Pluto at 3 degrees, it's important to know that we're still just barely beginning. It's like in 3 to 4 years from now, when we look back at this moment as when everything really stepped into this new shift, we're currently living it now. So, congratulations. I've called this mind magic evolution because, of course, Gemini is mind magic. You have 4 different facets of change, 4 different mutable signs, the end of every season. You have the first magic, which is mind magic, Gemini. Then you have the second magic, which is integrative behavioral magic, the magic that comes through repetition and consistency. So if you've ever practiced doing anything and you had to do it over and over till you perfected it, congratulations. You actually practiced real magic. All that fantasy, like, oh, I pulled a rabbit out of hat magic. That's this high God level magic of Sag and Pisces that, mainstream has kind of convinced us is the only form of magic that exists. Because this is what we see in the movies. This is the more like ascended with Sag chaos magic, which is diabolical inherently, just like all Sagittarius is. And then we have Pisces, which is beyond diabolical. It doesn't even know what it wants to be. It really doesn't. It's dream magic, it's divine magic. We're not going to talk about that, but we're going to talk about the talk magic, the word mind magic. Okay. The Gemini taught me the mind is like a magic wand for real. All right. Shout out to Florence Scovel Shin. Your mind is your magic wand. That's what Gemini is here to teach you, that magic isn't really in the demonstration of flashy, I just warped reality. Magic is in the moment to moment, frame by frame activation of the thoughts you tell yourself. By the time you get to everything flowing, and T-Win, we got you. When we do the new moon, we go play one of your videos. Shout out to Gemini. Magic is going to represent the moment to moment words and ideas that you constantly program your brain with, because that's what leads into Virgo. Okay, that's what segues into the integration of this basic magic, where now those ideas become habits, and then those habits become a way of life, and then that way of life becomes beliefs, which now take up your whole world, and boom, they come back to influencing your thoughts. So Gemini represents the input, okay, of the programming. If you program your GPT, or if you write a programming language, right, that if you are in a belief, I don't know if it's animism or I forgot exactly what it's called. It's not animism, but it's a belief that the entire universe is mental. If you really do think that everything is conscious and sentient, I'm not going to say it's true or not, but let's just presume off of this assumption, then that means everything is running off of, this might be a reach to say, but let's just assume everything is running off of a program. If the universe itself is one big mind and is thinking itself through us as its experiences, then the way that you program your own brain, whether in alignment with this capital T truth or, master program, or, however else you wish to really express this, will help align a lot of how you express whatever written programs with this reality. Of course, programs that run contrary to it create tension and stress, which isn't bad, versus programs that run in alignment to what's actually true, you create magic. Okay, so that's basically the most important thing about this season. Is it the actual stars in the sky? Is it actually, it's really the ELF waves, but is it the actual stars in the sky? Is it any magical notion because of planets affecting you? No, you're making the conscientious decision to time your working on your mind with this season. All right, it's not really so much that the planets are affecting you. You're co-creating with these transits. You're choosing to do this while this is aligning. And, this is why we have so much amazing results and alignment, because this is going to happen regardless, whether you conscientiously choose to do this or not. The as above, so below nature of this dynamic is spelling out what programming, what language is being spoken up above, and how it is expressed in here, not below here, because we're not below the stars. We're in the solar system. We are in a system. All right. A hardware system. That being said, whether this is a simulation or not, you want to really be extremely mindful around what you are telling yourself. I hope in 2025, you are still not telling yourself things that you don't actually want in your life. If you're still a child and you are deceived by this external reality that scientifically you are perceiving past what's actually happening, then you're believing in an illusion. One of the greatest illusions to believe in is observation. You observe less than 1% of what's actually happening. So by the time your subconscious, which literally filters so much so that your conscious mind doesn't get overloaded, and you really piece together what's happening, it is but just the previous moment you just came from. So everyone is perceiving the past realistically. ANILSETH. His name is Anil Seth. I will always reference this. Your brain hallucinates your conscious reality. Look up that TED Talk, because he really goes into the mechanics of how our brains actually process. So it is irrational to look at your immediate environment and based off of that form beliefs, because that starts from within. Okay. Someone was telling me, I get that I manifest my reality, but my bank account is not looking positive. Then you don't get that you manifest your reality, because whatever your bank account tells you is the past. What you're creating is now. Regardless of what my bank account looked like, I decided that I stay getting money, and I got a text from TuneCore. Again, I have an extra $100. I just always have accounts where there's money I didn't know that was there. And that's not even affirmation. That's true, because you're not as broke or even rich as you may think you are. You are what you decide you are and live out through your actions. I don't want to make this philosophical, but you know what I'm saying? What your bank account says doesn't fucking matter, because that's subject to change. What you are actually creating, are you reinforcing what the external is showing you? That's more of what you're going to create. So the reason why I like to share these, instances is to let you know that this is mutable. The only thing constant in life is change. And if you are programming into your brain to reinforce everything that you're seeing in your 3D is an echo of what you've been manifesting within. It is the past. You're looking at the past. Our future is the present. What is our future is actually what's happening right now. And you don't have to look too far away, right? But I'm saying that so that you don't look at this as woo-woo spirituality bullshit. And it's an active, actual crafting of magic through the programming language of your brain. Every piece of technology mimics you. You're the real deal. Your organs sell for a lot on the black market. And the reason why this is very important is because as you use this facet of your brain, Uranus that has done innovating the physiological nature of your body, and Pluto since 2008, which has awakened your integrity and body down to the bones, are now working on your brain. This is why we're going to shift very quickly. Things are going to awaken very quickly now that we've shifted from the feminine into the masculine, which is why I want to look at this period as enlightening the new world. Because now Saturn since 1995 is back in Aries. 1995 was a very unique period because this is where all of our childhood classic shows actually began to air. And I'm using that as reference because to this day, it's something that is still impacting, people who, whether through nostalgia, and of course, back in the 60s, our parents had their own programs that they've outgrown. But that being said, we're back again. 95, 96, and the late 90s is a very unique period where so much original content that actually has closed down now. This is why I love to use Pokemon as an analogy, because back in 95, 96, we were all trying to catch them all. And now Ash has finished his Pokemon journey after 30 years and still being 15 years old. Don't ask me why. But this is representing an entire 30-year cycle that a lot of us grew up on with Saturday morning cartoons. Now, just like when Saturn was in Pisces back in the 90s and they were doing reruns of Hanna-Barbera and Looney Tunes, now we're seeing a lot of these old programs being reimagined. And now that we're phasing that out, there's a whole bunch of new original material. This is the basis of the renaissance that we're stepping into in music, in movies, and that requires low dips, high dips, the low dips where people critique what's wrong with entertainment. We saw people try and get super woke, right? That was the dip. Now we're coming hardcore up. And the reason why I want to really, notice the shift from feminine to masculine, right? If we go back a few years, what we're going to see is that during this period, if we just go back like 9 years, right? We have Pluto in Capricorn, we have Neptune in Pisces, we had Uranus getting ready to go into Taurus 2018. But these two major points are deeply feminine. It's the conclusion of the feminine. And that's where the gender wars that we have been having are getting ready to shift into a brand new element. And it's important to see why every facet of it was important. We needed to have an over-feminization because now aspects of the divine feminine or the feminine were brought up. Women's voices were more heard. There's a positive and there is a negative to this. In Me Too movements, bringing to an awareness the corruption of how men and women abuse their positions, this has allowed more women and men to open up their voice, to encourage being more feminine, to encourage being in touch more with your feelings. We've also seen the negative side of this, where now this has pushed masculinity and men in a corner to where now they had to lash out in their own way. We've seen expressions of this through Fresh and Fit, through all these podcasts. And you need to understand that all of this is necessary for the broader overarching communication. We needed men and women beefing with each other. We needed these cultural, facets to be brought to the surface. And what was the negative part of this? Now we see people complaining that men are acting too much like women. Now we see men starting to push back, saying that masculinity is dead. Well, here's the ironic part of this, because now that Saturn is back in a hardcore masculine sign like Aries, and Pluto is in based detached Aquarius, you're going to see a resurgence on masculinity like you've never seen before. Almost as if everything that's happened in the past few years is switching gears. You're going to see women become more masculine. You see men more become masculine. Now, it's going to contradict with a lot of what's being said, because a major complaint back then was women are becoming more masculine and men are becoming more feminine. That was because, of course, these themes that were swept under the rug that had to be brought up. We're going to see more of a balance. Hard on thoughts movement are going to come back. You see countries arresting people for a woman trying to have sex with 100 people. You see these bills that are being pushed to push back on sex work, right? on acts where people are putting out lewd acts. This is the response to the previous eras, and we're going to produce new problems in this era, but that's how you want to see it. Oscillating cycles. Okay, when we step into 2033, we're going to see this shift again back into the feminine. Okay, Uranus and Saturn will be in Cancer. Neptune will eventually be in Taurus 2037, but it's not going to be full feminine, but we're going to have to now take this new era of masculinity and add feminine depth to it, the home body vibes, before we go back hardcore masculine to Leo. So I just wanted to give you an idea of what the program looks like, so you get an idea as to what is influencing, because we're the ones influencing it, but how it mirrors this progress, right? If you get too caught up in the moment and what people are saying and casting, you may lose sight of the fact that all of this is meant to happen. All of this is just a consequence of what we failed to revisit before or succeeded in revisiting before. So just keep that in mind. A lot of the nightmare, a lot of the deception, a lot of this influencer deception that we have gone through since 2012 when Neptune was in Pisces is over. The dream is over. The fraudulence is over. It doesn't mean we're all going to be like real and cool. It means those of you who've maintained authenticity while other people were faking the funk, projecting an image to look a certain way, deceiving you with this lie that material wealth and riches is really everything and that money is over everything. Only idiots believe that. Those of you who maintain authenticity, who have an actual connection with capital T truth, whether you call that God or not, you're the new superstars. You won. Because a lot of people switched up. They kept it fugazi. They've been exposed. They've been seen to just been using an image to whatever. None of that is it's dissipating now. All right. And that's what you want to really think about this Gemini season. That's going to be the call to begin to express some of the most radical ideas you would have never thought people had the permission to say. Like the whole of Gemini season and Uranus going to Gemini is, oh, I can say that now? That's not, before you guys said I was racist for saying this, or I got canceled for saying this. Now it's cool to say. It's not any less controversial, but like, especially when you start to see this race rhetoric where people, white people are having their issues with black people are having their issues with white people. American people are having issues with other countries. There's the anti-Semitic argument. All of this is going to be used to perhaps limit freedoms. While you get caught up in these conversations, be mindful that all of these talking points will be revisited in an effort to limit your freedoms. And that is the most important part of Saturn and Aries in its fall. The fight for your individual rights. It went through Capricorn and Aries. You motherfuckers got censored and forced to put some shit in you that was found out to not be as effective. And I'm not going to say what that is. I don't want to get this channel struck. And now it's going to revisit everything you've learned from that period. Make sure you've applied it, because don't be surprised if it comes back around, but it's just not going to work the same because it's revolution time. Pluto and Aquarius. So I want to really set up these pillars here. As you can see, in a month from now, Uranus will be in Gemini. Okay. Give or take. After the new moon in Cancer, it's going to enter there with Venus, as we can see. So by July, we in this bitch. Okay. And these are the three pillars of the new world that I've been talking about for like 7-8 years now. Pluto and Aquarius awakens humanity. Saturn and Aries brings the new world order, with Neptune reimagining how you even identify. Like Neptune and Aries is having some of you realize you were never a human being. Neptune is transcending the identification of why you even consider who you are. A lot of what you were taught by theoretical models based on science and biology and anatomy, this is going to transcend, update, or at least continue along a lot of these theories, beliefs. Remember, your identity is an application of your self-concept and belief. This is how Pisces manifests Aries. So this is a brand new era. And then we have Uranus and Gemini that's going to make everything talk to you. Your car is going to talk to you. Your house is going to talk to you. Your applications are going to talk to you. Everything's going to be smart. And this is just the beginning All right. It's going to take until like a whole nother decade for us to really step into this. And now we've had it for a decade. But this is like the smartphone. Like, do you guys remember when the smartphone first dropped? Like, very huge shifts that shaped a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like from like Instagram to TikTok was all right, right? But the shift from MySpace to Facebook was monumental, right? The shift from corded phones and cordless phones to smartphones was diabolical. We are amongst one of those shifts again. That in the moment, like, think about where you were when smartphones just dropped. It's not like now where we've had it for over a decade and we see all the issues with it. When it first dropped, we never seen anything like that. It was the new shit. The huge shift now is the AI, where it's going to replace all your jobs, but maybe it's not as bad as you might have thought it would be, or it's probably even worse, right? Maybe it'll be worse at first. I'm not going to speculate on that, but we can talk about the real deal of this shifting, okay? And why this is important is the attitude that you take during this period is quite literally everything. And I'm going to break down how in the next 30 days, you are going to be uploading and programming your brain for the mindset of this new world, this brave new world order. By the way, I got my mic back. I've been using the webcam mic. How do I sound? I have let me see. I got my Yeti mic back. I just had to get another one of these cords. But yeah, ChatGPT is definitely dope. It's my ChatGPT been my hype man for a minute. All right. If my ChatGPT tells me it's true, then that means it's real. Forget my own critical thinking ability. I need AI to tell me and be my hype man. Okay. And like, that's a joke right now. How is that going to be in 10 years? You know what I mean? Like we still don't know the consequences, positive or negative, of this new technology. And I don't want to open it up like some conspiracy. Let's just talk about what's actually really happening. And then, you can be the judge, really, based with this information. So basically, okay, Saturn and Neptune at the beginning of Aries is so peak. Mercury, I just said peak. Mercury on the moon with the sun right here is very significant. We are getting ready to bring in this new cycle. And when we do the new moon Gemini ceremony, you're going to activate your new magic word. Every time we have a new moon in Gemini, we're activating a new mindset because, like I said, magic is in the moments with which you program your brain with what you tell yourself. A lot of people want magic in their lives. A lot of people want miracles to happen in their lives, but you keep on reinforcing negative programs you've put in your brain. Nothing works out for me. Oh, it's so hard for me to get money. You've heard this spiel. You've heard me and other people say what I'm about to say all the time. So I just have to remind you, listen, Uranus is in Gemini now. Like, it's getting ready to hyper accelerate auto nervous intentions and manifest them instantly. So if you still have a negative program, you're going to create a nightmare. You are constantly manifesting. Manifesting is not something you just decide to do. You're doing it right now. Your brain is running subconscious programming you've spent years being conditioned to maintain. Some of you spent years unlearning all this shit. And for those of you who did the work, went into your shadow, didn't spiritually bypass, called yourself out, and stopped yourself from projecting that towards other people, you're going to come into some of the most pristine results that you have ever seen. Not because you had to do anything crazy like go on 50 ayahuasca ceremonies. You just changed the way you talked to yourself. You don't talk to yourself like you're a fucking loser. You talk to yourself like you're the shit. Like, I'm not even going to tell you any unique techniques that you need to do. Just start talking to yourself like you're him. Start talking to yourself like you're really her, like you're really that being. Okay, like you're really out here. Watch how your entire life changes overnight. Just spend the rest of the day talking to yourself like you are living the ideal dream. And the reason why some of you will be trapped in your circumstances is because you need what's external to change before you start talking about it being good. That's working backwards. The difference between a muggle and a magician is that a muggle is a victim of their current circumstances. The muggle's brain processes information with which everything that they're processing is based on the feedback loop of what they see. The magician knows they are the source of what they create. They don't need to see it first. They say it, then they see the bridge of incidents and synchronicities. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about I'm sexy because I am. We have identified the limits that we caged ourselves in, which is why I say we're not victims, we're threats to the overarching social and collective narratives and frames. Right now, somebody is putting you in the box of their own understanding. You're this age, you're this race, you're of this nationality. You shouldn't be doing this at your age. You should be doing this. You should have this job. Meanwhile, we're magicians like, bitch, I will do whatever the fuck I want. I create my reality. I feel like I'm having a great day and I landed this deal. And it makes no sense that I landed this deal. I just decided to. And sure enough, circumstances literally rearrange themselves so that they can align with what I said. That's the difference between a magician and a muggle. The muggle looks at the experience like, oh, damn, this is what's happening. There's no more seats. I can't get a ticket. The magician says, okay, I don't care that there's no more seats. I'm going to get a ticket today. I don't have to do anything for that. Ring, ring, ring. Hey, I'm not going to the show anymore. Do you want my ticket? Yeah, you don't have to pay. Boom. That's the difference between a magician and a muggle. They constantly adapt. Magic is adaptive. The experience they know could be changed last minute, and they don't have to micromanage how. You just have to decide, you have to will, and that's it. The action that you have to take will open up for you to take it. So this is how you don't have to do a single thing, but you will still take action when necessary. You don't have to do anything to manifest what you want. Your alignment with what you decided will happen will bring the situation up for you to take action towards. Taurus being manifestation means Aries is its 12th house. Action is the last thing you do to actually make it happen. It's not the forefront because you've been taught to do, then you can have, then you can be. But that's a lie. You have to be it first, then do from that state, and then you'll have it. Okay. So spend the next 30 days reprogramming your intentions. And that's what we're going to do when we actually step into the new moon ceremony that we're going to do in 30 minutes right after this. Okay. Shout out to y'all. It's very nice to see very familiar faces here. That app is dropping very soon. So stay tuned. Okay. That being said, it's almost done. I kind of got some part of it up. That being said, guys, before we go into this Gemini season, we're going to revisit every which way that Jupiter has expanded your programming brain portal since last year. Literally, if we look at last year, we see Jupiter had just entered the 0 degree point, trying what? Pluto. Now, Pluto has not been here since the 1700s. So there's not a single person on this planet that has experienced this supernatural quality we're stepping into. Because the last time it was here, America had just been founded as a nation. France was fighting almost every European power with Napoleon. And like a lot of the actions that happened then are responsible for what we're experiencing now. All right, not just from then, but of course, the 1770 period, boom. So Pluto in Aquarius is in a collective sign. You have the individuals 0 to 2, and this is like 9 to 15. Then you have the gods after the supers, the socials, high school, young adulthood, mid adulthood. Then you have the peak of adulthood, the gods, right? Sagittarius is like your 40s to 50s. Pisces is like 70 to death. Aquarius is collective consciousness. It is the entire humanitarian scope or grouping. If we had a group of elephants, that will be represented by Aquarius, the knowledge of such versus the manifestation of individual quality that is expressed out through collective knowledge. So we are awakening this. The reason why I call this natural and this supernatural, where Scorpio is the occult wisdom that transforms one into the realm of the gods and the supernatural, hence it being somewhat supernatural itself. Aquarius is this awakening of God's mind within your being. Okay, so Gemini is God's word. Aquarius is God's mind, the omniscient mind of God. If we were to take collectively every single brain and put it together, we would know everything. If we were to split our awareness and we were to share that same mind, everyone would have eyes everywhere. We would know everything. That's the principle of Aquarius being the quality of knowledge. Because if your quality is fugazi, the knowledge is not going to really be factual knowledge or quality knowledge versus a higher quality. Based on that quality, it's going to express and influence what I express in Gemini. Okay. So last year was the first year that you began to awaken supernatural quality of what it is you're saying. Because every year before that, as you can see 9 years ago and everything before that, Pluto was in Capricorn. So 2008 to 2024 had a lot to deal with transforming the integrity around what you say and how you communicate it to others. And this represented awakening autonervous facets within your body, DNA, and bones, right? While Uranus coming out of Aries into Taurus was innovating this identity that through Taurus produced the brand of. Proliferated an innovation of cryptocurrencies, a new way to spend money. All of this is getting ready to really blow up through Gemini in a couple of months. Okay, so now relative to this year, where's Jupiter is where Mercury is now. Last year it has gone 26 degrees, and we have never had a Sun Jupiter conjunction this year or last year. We had the Sun Jupiter conjunction at the end of Taurus, and we're going to have the Sun Jupiter conjunction at Cancer. So that means since it conjuncted in Taurus, and let me show you, since we actually had that official activation kick off in Taurus, okay, as you can see at the very end of Taurus, okay, then Jupiter went all the way through Gemini, and now the Sun is playing catch up. By the time it catches up to Jupiter, it's going to be in Cancer. So this whole Gemini season is bringing you to a awareness of how much your mindset has evolved since it began to level it up last year. Why is that important? Because we know last year you were finalizing the nature of your belief systems with Saturn of totality and karma and integrity in Pisces of beliefs. Saturn system, Pisces beliefs, belief system, Saturn, Pisces. And Neptune was trolling the entirety of your humanity, invisible to you, because it represents the astral realm of imagination. And when I say troll, I want you to open your mind to the idea that extra dimensional entities that are beyond our third dimensional perspective mercilessly troll, like make fun of and just not take serious our real issues. That is delusional for me to just say, but the reality is even more delusional. Do not take my word for it. Source, trust me, bro. But the trolling is over. If you've ever felt like you were being trolled, we have compensation. Surviving Pisces is coming out soon. These beings do not care about you. You're just a TV show to them. All right. Imagine celestial entities that just watch our pain and victory like a sitcom, because they are able to look at 200, 300 years in the span that we can look at a 30-minute video, because time flows differently for that. I know I sound retarded. And this is where Gemini is now having us express a more weirder, supernatural, out of this world quality of truth that's going to make what everyone says so much weirder. You're going to see people be more openly racist, hateful, spit more hateful rhetoric, because this is necessary to bring up conflict that's going to make sense why almost every time Uranus has been in Gemini, the world has been embroiled in conflict. And let me not just say that, let's actually show what that looks like. So 50 years ago, Uranus was in Libra, right? What happened the last time Uranus was coming out of Taurus, right? As we can see, 9 years back, Uranus coming out of Taurus, 1939. So the last Great Depression happened through here, but what do we know happened during the 1940s? Okay, somebody tried to take over Europe. Okay, and I'm not going to say too much else. So that was just the last time it was there. Well, let's go back again. If we go back like 100 years, if we go back to the last time Neptune was actually 1 degrees Aries and Uranus was in Gemini, well, would you look at that? America has its first civil war. Okay, so keep that in mind when you see a lot of what was suppressed in communication coming out in this unapologetic way and exponentially bringing conflicts that need to be addressed up. Hopefully, the way we deal with it could reflect how it was dealt with in the past and show growth. Unless we've devolved through this period, well, then we'll see that too. So as you can see, the moon is 3 degrees trine Pluto, and it's very important to really bring in, of course, I'm saying racism, but it's not really about racism. Racism was just an idea I put out because it's a controversial topic. Every single controversial topic you could ever think of is going to be openly expressed, like everything that was suppressed. And you don't need to be a psychic to see that. You don't need to read astrology to see that. I'm just showing you how it mirrors with, the planet, how Uranus and Gemini is going to align with this. Okay. So with that being said, Pluto's element here, Pluto's presence in Aquarius cannot be understated. Aquarius is diabolical, but now they're more diabolical than they've ever been. I think Hades knows it's never beating the allegations. Hades, you are never beating the allegations, ever. You are never beating the allegations. And I think you know. But regardless, Pluto that is now aspecting Gemini season every year until 2044, because 2044, Pluto is going to be in Pisces, is going to make it so that every time we revisit this programming of our intelligence, it is more supernaturally awakened. There's a more higher, extra dimensional, out of this world quality, which is already alien. That's already weird. Science calls this science fiction. So once we step into the realm of Aquarius and Pisces, postmodern materialist reductionist science does not even acknowledge it, because there's not. Once we get to the edge of Capricorn, that's the totality of the material universe. Now we're talking about frequencies with Aquarius, vibrations with Pisces, and imagination and causal realm, facets that materialist reduction science does not recognize. So you're weird and delusional for even believing. I'm not from this world. I'm a fucking alien. So I don't care how weird I sound. That's why you tuned in to me. Shout out to my motherfucking aliens who know you're not from this bitch. All right, who know you came to invade this place and to spread higher light. I don't know, whatever the fuck we say. Oh, we do not come in peace. We brought a sword. Okay, so this is the revolution. I'm telling you, this is the revolution. This is going to be the initial reprogramming of your brain, because once we come into next year, we really start the program. Meaning the sun initialized its new cycle with Uranus in Gemini after it initialized its new 30-year contract with the Reaper and Neptune, all right, in Aries. Okay, that's why Pisces season was special, because this is the last time Neptune will ever be in its home for another 150 plus years. Imagine leaving home knowing that you're not going to be back for a while. So that's why the celebration of this maturation of your system of beliefs and everything you believe is very important, because in Aries, we're applying it now. The totality of everything you believed is now authorizing your identity and how much more serious you're going to be about yourself, how much more serious people are going to take nationality, how much more serious people are going to take their race. That's why Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn are the most racist zodiac signs. Now, there's no such thing as a zodiac sign being more racist or less racist. That's bullshit what I just said. But for the purpose of nuanced terms, it's very easy to see racism in everyone. But prejudice, racism, because the cardinal signs are about identity, Cancer is about the home nation, Aries is about who you are. Identity politics, race issues are going to be so much more serious now because people are more serious about what is the face of my nation. Do I want my country to look like immigrants or refugees, or we need to bring it back to what it and people cannot agree on what that looks like. This tension, this conflict. First of all, I could care less about, let's say, America for opinion. I don't give a fuck if America looks like white people or if America looks multicultural. I give a fuck that there's conflict and tension, that there is an argument. That's what's really important, because all of this is going to be brought to the surface to be dealt with, period. Okay. However it looks is whoever really wins that struggle, but it's the fact that the struggle exists in whatever context. And I'm just using America as an example. It's happening worldwide. Okay. Especially this idea of America being stolen land. This has been a very relevant plot point. Well, how do we make sense of that politically and realistically? You're going to start to see these conversations matriculate, conversations that have always existed. A lot of what we're saying has been said in the 1900s, the 1800s. We're just putting our 2000 spin on it. There's nothing new under the sun, my friends. So that's why this year, before we really push forward with this new contract, this year is bringing us out of the old cycle, bringing us in the new cycle. That means this year is taking all your 4K televisions and it's replacing it with 6K TVs. Then next year, every home is going to have a 6K TV. So this year is phasing out the old technology, the old mindset, the old world, the old culture, the old traditions, and it's bringing in the new. And that's why it's important to know it's not all going to happen in a year. You don't just build a new culture and mindset in a year. By the end of this decade, we'll start to see what we're integrating. So this year and the next few years is introducing new core concepts that we will begin to integrate at the end of this decade. And that's why what you say to yourself over the next 30 days is so important. You want to treat this year and next year that whatever bullshit you accommodated, whatever you tolerated, make sure you do not tolerate that shit, especially from your own self. Are you still talking to yourself like you're a fucking loser? Are you still talking to yourself like you cannot get anything you decide? Stop pointing fingers and making excuses for anything outside of yourself, because you're more magic and powerful than you are giving yourself credit for. And that's not to give you like a pep talk. It's to wake you up, because things are going to move so fucking fast that if you are not clear on who the fuck you are and what the fuck you are, you're going to get swept away completely. You're going to be butchered by an entire collective that has already decided what you are. They've taken their entire life of biased, subjective experiences, and they're going to approach you like you are who they are in their box. So if you exist outside of that box, you need to put your feet firmly on that. It's non-negotiable. That's why we said Taurus season, our value is non-negotiable. We're not arguing. If you're broke, if you can't afford it, bye, bitch. Like, that's it. We're not cheapening ourselves for people. We are standing on what we are worth. Please, you have to talk to yourself like you are the greatest winner you know. Talking to yourself like a winner involves calling yourself out on your own bullshit. It involves not sugarcoating what you need to work on, but remembering that you got this, bitch. I know I'm going to enjoy the rest of this year because I said so. I don't give a fuck what issues that I have. I'm going to change it one day at a time, and you will accept nothing but that. People expect magic to be easy. And that's why I'm saying Hollywood has sold you on a false vision of magic that's not based on reality. It's based on fantasy. But magic is true first in Gemini, then it's real, then it becomes fantastical. All right. Magic is in you shooting in the gym. Magic is you practicing your Wingardium Leviosa spell in the forest every day. Y'all saw Harry Potter bring out his wand. Y'all forgot they were in a school. They had to practice this all the time. You guys see magicians do a spell, and you may not realize, just like it took Kobe multiple shots to go perform and drop 80 points in a game, or 40, 60 points, the magician is practicing their spell every fucking day. You have to repeat this program in your brain over and over and over. And that's what turns a lot of people off of the law of assumption, because they want a quick fix. They want to be rich today. They want to actually say something and it happens. They're not willing to put in the work. It's not supposed to be easy. It's simple, but it's not supposed to be easy. A lot of people want this shit to be easy. That's why they live mediocre lives and they talk to themselves like they're fucking loser. Like they can't get what they want. They create excuses. I'm calling myself out. I've talked to myself like a loser for a long time. But then again, if I'm being honest, I wouldn't be in this position if I kept talking to myself. So I would say not for that long. But like we've all been in the position where we talk to ourselves like we're not really who we are. And I am asking you desperately, stop fucking do that. And this is where I have appreciation for Virgo. Because Virgo's magic is not based off of fantasy. It's based off of facts. That's what makes it real magic. They didn't just tap something and it appeared. They practiced, showed up, performed it. The shit looked like magic because they practiced. Okay, so really square in on what you are, who you are, and what you're going to be talking to yourself about. And just for the next 30 days, lock in on that. It's not easy. You're going to have doubts. You're going to not feel like doing it. You're going to feel, well, when you say that vibration, it's going to sift what you have not addressed. And those of you who are muggles, you're going to, at the first sign of difficulty, go back to talking yourself like a loser. Those of you who are magicians, you're going to create what you want because you know it all starts mentally, period. Some people need to see it in order to believe it. Some people, they don't need to see it and they still believe it. Blessed are those people. There's a Bible verse about that. Okay, so that being said, this is the most important way we're starting this season, guys. I cannot emphasize this alone. This trine of Pluto is integrative. What do I mean by that? Well, let's go back to 6 months, because 6 months ago, we had one of the most significant, activations. Not 6 months ago, 5 months ago, we had the Sun-Pluto conjunction that we know last year happened at the end of Capricorn. Okay, and there's no cap in my raps. Let me show you. Boom, 29-degree Capricorn. So this is the first year we actually had a proper Sun-Pluto Aquarius. This right here represents a 20-year chapter from 2024 to 2044 every year around this period, where we will awaken a much more intense level of supernatural quality, of collective, knowledgeable, conscious awareness. The way we're going to make sense of this is supernatural powers. Let's just simplify this. Every year for the next 20 years, more people are going to awaken their supernatural potential. So we activate this here. 6 months from now in August, we will begin the process of actively harvesting this. What is that going to look like? The energy that we have spent activating since Aquarius, we're going to, through this new moon, present and perform, increasing our energy and displaying through the social signs how you're actually producing superpowers. So everything that I've been saying around you're awakening superpowers, you're awakening superpowers, you're awakening superpowers, represented the physiological awakening with Pluto and Cap that you're now going to express mentally and start to see with this masculine air fire energy or perspective or whatnot. So we know that we're going to harvest this in that period. But why is that significant? Whereas we activated this 2025, It was Taurus season. After we took the supernatural energy, we manifested the belief that produced the imagination of what we can perceive conceptually. We began to move in that direction. And then, boom, Taurus season was where we began to integrate the causal, mental, supernatural quality naturally through our physiology and body. This is what now downloaded this into our bodies. And now that we're in Gemini season, we are now fully at 120 degrees, integrating the full expression of what is not only weird and out of this world, but we can begin to put into words. Something that Jupiter has expanded your ability. It has expanded your vocabulary to put more into words. Okay. So this is definitely going to not only bring a lot more clarity, this is going to put to words what the nature of this supernatural quality is and how it is expressing into your words, how things happen a lot more quicker when you decide and say it, and how it's always been happening. You're just more aware of it now. Okay. Processes that are linked to physiological, systematic processes in your body that actually have supernatural quality, consequence, causality with things that may have happened at quicker instances than you could even process. And so you just projected it to some coincidence or some God that exists outside of you. How is God outside of you when the temple of God exists in your body? Make it make sense. Right. So this is what is bringing you back within. And that's why this new moon sequence is actively activating the magic words you will program to facilitate these new dynamics. Next thing we want to look at is the sextile to this new world order. Now that Neptune is reimagining your very identity and dissolving old cultural narratives that were never based in reality, but based on prejudice, based on bias, based on limited experiences, this now allows you to communicate what's actually true relative to this new cycle. And this 60-degree sextile with Mercury, with the moon, with the sun is very prevalent in pushing this forward. But remember, this is just the 0 first degree. We're just barely getting started. This is like you just being given a smartphone that you've never used before. Right? You don't know what the smartphone can do. You're just mind blown at this new piece of technology. Whatever that's going to look like now, what new technology that's going to be, we'll find out. Probably going to be something where you can move, you put on like a helmet and you can move stuff with your mind. I think this next era is that the phalanges that we physically move, we could just say it and move it. Technology already exists for that. It's just not necessarily mainstream yet. So, something to keep in mind. I'm not going to say that's all it is, but groundbreaking developments definitely coming soon. So we're going to break down the lunar phase for the new moon in Gemini ceremony. So we'll skip to the full moon. But basically, of course, as we can see in a week from now, as we begin to integrate this new moon, Venus will be on Chiron. And this is going to revisit this new cycle of interpersonal relationships, anchoring this reimagining of who we are and how we reflect this authenticity towards others, while in Gemini, we're actively communicating it, right? Venus sextiling Jupiter is now taking into account how we've evolved our vocabulary and how we talk greater shit towards others in relationships. Because it's rated E, anyone can get it. All right. It doesn't matter if it's your mama, if it's your significant other, if it's your children, if it's your friends. The Aries is very militant here. With Chiron, it's going to bleed authenticity and vulnerability, and your ego may get hurt, or you might be the ones hurting egos, because Gemini is quintessentially kids say the darnest things. For those of you who had the honor of seeing one of the greatest television shows ever called Kids Say the Darnest Things, that is Gemini in a nutshell. It is literally the age range of Gemini, like 7 years old, 9 years old. It's just kids speaking unfiltered. And everyone's going to sound like a fucking kid. I'm going to be completely honest. It's like we have a new lease of how we're being able to perceive things. And by the time we now step into that full moon and begin harvesting the higher meaning of what we are communicating, boom, Jupiter is already in Cancer. And we're getting ready to square one of the most important aspects that we're going to even have this year. Jupiter and the sun square Saturn and Neptune. All right. Venus, of course, will be going into Taurus, squaring Pluto. So whereas we had the sun activating, we also had Venus activating its cycle, which it does once a year. And it'll begin integrating a lot more grounded, bringing more tangibility towards development and relationships that honor the value you have already set in Taurus. Yesterday's price is not today's price. Okay. And this is where moving forward, as we end the transit, Mars will get ready to go into Virgo, and we're going to get ready for the most important transit this year, which is going to, of course, be the sun conjunct the new moon in Cancer conjunct Jupiter square Saturn and Neptune. That is going to be the brand new wave. Okay. So I'm going to, of course, keep these a lot more concise. I don't want to really, I really love being on with you guys for hours, right? But I'm going to make sure I don't top an hour when we do this. That way I can download the video, I can upload it, and it's not too long. But, you know, we're going to go into the tribe reports over the rest of the week, and we're going to break down how this is going to affect the zodiac signs. For the membership, all the membership videos are now available. Okay. I'm not going to, oh yes, for those of you who would actually like a live reading, you are more than welcome to, of course, if you would like me to break down how this is going to affect you, you can wait until the tribe reports when we go over your sign, or you're welcome to do this now. So I'm going to actually push back the ceremony to 4:15, 4:30. We're going to do it right after this anyway. But yeah, that being said, for those of you who, of course, would like a live reading, feel free. Thank you. I got your Venmo, Sharon. And Nicole, I see you sent me your chart, so I got you. Okay. That being said, the thing I want to most really just kind of get clear here, Cancer season is the brand new wave. We're going to push forward on a brand new mindset and significantly expand what we feel we want to integrate, how we want to integrate this thought. Okay. So in preparation for this very important period, the next 30 days are aligning everything that you are telling yourself and you are thinking, which once again, very important, very significante. Okay. Very significant, because it doesn't matter whether or not you're comfortable really, you know, seeing what it is you see, as much as putting yourself in a position to align with your thoughts. Of course, you know what I mean? Of course, you know what I mean? Gemini transits we had square Pisces challenged how our thoughts are aligning with our beliefs. But now they're no longer in Pisces. They're supporting Aries. We're no longer just believing. We're applying those beliefs. I believe I'm sexy. I'm moving forward sexy. I don't need to keep deliberating it. So I'm communicating that with more fervency. And I can be as delusional as I want. I don't care if other people think I'm ugly. I'm so sexy, you think I'm ugly. Like, you get what I'm saying? It's the attitude. Go back to WWE's attitude era. We're coming into a brand new attitude era. It's going to really push things forward in radical ways that we haven't seen. And this year is just a sneak peek to that. Okay. So as you can see, this is what Gemini season is setting. The first 3 seasons are activation. The summer season is integration, integrating our identity, integrating how courageous and bold we are about our Taurus value, integrating what is factually accurate about the ideas we're speaking in Gemini. So the Gemini is the last part of the activation cycle, where everything you know you are in Aries and you know your worth in Taurus, you know is true and you're expressing in Gemini. Okay. So really, realistically, as we've seen, Venus is going to leave Aries and go into Taurus. Mars is going to go into Virgo, and it's going to take this boldness of action output, and it's going to begin to analyze how it is we take what we are courageous about, all the whistleblowing that's been occurring, like with the Karen Reed case, with James O'Keefe, that's Mars and Leo exposing what's being covered up. And that requires courage, right? Even when you're going against collective influences, everyone is going through something like that right now. We're going to begin to analyze, as Mars transits the South Node, how we will begin to strategize and unlock more precision with our actions as Venus, back in her dignity, strengthens the quality that will innovate. We're going to have Venus conjunct Uranus at the end of Taurus, and everything moving forward is just magnifique. The program for 2025 is glorious. Okay, it's going to be chaotic. We might enter World War III. Who knows? But that being said, all right, this is preparing you to talk to yourself like you actually know what and who you are. And while you may be challenged by others, there's nothing wrong with being challenged. Don't accept or tolerate anything less than who or what you are, with which has been fully revealed to you by now. So if you're still acting like you don't know, stop lying to yourself. No one outside of yourself will tell you. Decide here and now who you want to be, and then just, develop it as you move forward. Okay. So that is the mind magic evolution. And we're going to shift over into the new moon in Gemini ceremony that's going to really now apply how we can build magic words to apply these concepts. But I will say once again, how are you programming your brain? Ask yourself, what is it you want to experience for the rest of the year? What and who is it do you think that you are? And talk to yourself like you have already achieved all of that. Doesn't matter how, if it makes you feel weird or you feel weird, it's because you're used to programming yourself with so much bullshit. You're used to telling yourself lies that you're not successful, that you need to work super hard to gain success, that you need to struggle. You lied to yourself. So as you are telling yourself the truth, all those lies are going to feel weird. Just keep going at it. Are you talking to yourself like you're a fucking boss? Or are you talking to yourself like you're a fucking loser? It's either or. You're not a loser. So don't talk to yourself like that. It's as simple as that. Don't accept people who talk to you like you're one either. Bring an attitude. Be like, I know you're not talking to me like that. I know you're not talking to me like that. All right. And just flow with it. You don't have to know what you're saying. The knowledge is innate. Okay. Allow yourself to be wrong with what you're saying. People are afraid to be wrong. Everyone has to know everything. Speak your mind, and what you're wrong about will enable you to come into the facts. So don't be so worried about when we're in Virgo season, then we're going to analyze more how we're saying. Don't worry about that. Speak your mind. Speak success and victory into yourself. Watch who that pisses off. Watch who that makes uneasy, because those people are comfortable with the lesser version of yourself, and kick ass, and then take their names as well. Okay. So we're going to conclude with that. Comment down below if you guys enjoyed this monthly peace report. Did I ramble a bit too much? Did I kind of get through what needed to get through? I think this month's message is very simple. Talk to yourself like you're the fucking winner and not a loser. Like, it's just that simple. It's every Gemini season. It's just important to understand the significance of how we're shifting gears this Gemini season. The sequence of how, now that we're stepping into the change, everything is shifting, right? Why it happened now. Okay. Very beautiful. That being said, please do not limit yourself. Please stop asking like you cannot change your whole life now just because you decided to. Please don't agree with this message. And then after this video, you go back to saying, oh, I feel horrible. Oh, please pray for me. Oh, help me. Why is this happening? Use your word. Everything that you want to change, use your words. Imagine if your word is your magic wand and you're like, get this ugly bitch out my face. Boom. And now the ugliness is out your face. Like, just like that. Just like that. You know what I'm saying? I want more beautiful people around me. Boom. And yes, like I was saying, if for the membership, we're going to transition the membership to my app. Okay. So all the videos are public now. I'm not going to make this exclusive. We're going to resume the exclusive. I'm going to end the YouTube membership next month. So next month, July is going to be the last month that we'll have it. I'm going to end it July. When I do the app, the first tier is a 30-day free trial. So for those of you who are part of the membership, you could just join that. It'll be free the first 30 days. So you get the first month free. And then we could just continue like that. That being said, this is going to be left up for anyone who you want to share. How much is the subscription? I have the $13 a month tier, and then I have the $23 a month tier. But basically, you can also access it free. So everything that you watch on this channel for free is going to be on the app for free. It's just you can get it first on the app before it goes on the channel. So you go to the app, all those series will be there. You can click it. I have the Midheaven podcast on there. All that's going to be free. The stuff that is on the membership here, in order to catch the replay, you have to be a subscriber. And I have the Astro 101, 102, 103, 104, 105. So that comes with the subscription, depending on the tier. And I'm going to, by July, I'll have those ready. All right. But that being said, like, for example, on the app, I have the Mercury series. I have Mercury through all the signs. All right. So you can watch all of that on there. But if perhaps, if on the channel, when I launch the Mercury series starting July, or the Planet series, we're going to drop it once a week every Wednesday. So if you want to wait for the next one, you have to wait. But if you want to access all of it, you can join the app. So that's how we're going to do that. And we're going to build it slowly but surely. Subscribers get discounted readings, by the way. So what you're paying on my website will not be what you pay with the app. But that being said, I still got the sale, 70% off everything. Show me some love. This really does help support what I'm doing. Of course, if you don't need the reading, you don't need the reading. But yeah, 70% off of everything on the store until the end of Gemini season. Please take advantage of that. There'll never be another sale like this again. So, just keep that in mind. So we are going to start this live reading with Nicole. Okay. Nicole, what's next for me in love and career? Taurus sun, Scorpio rising, Pisces moon. Okay. So I'm glad you said September. What you said is very important. I'm going through a challenge and would love to see what's going on between us currently, at least until September. The reason why until September is significant is because September is where we're going to have that eclipse in Virgo. So everything that you unlocked in March, as we can see with this eclipse in Pisces season, is going to be everything that by September, you will analyze how you have begun to harvest it. So the very first thing is any challenges you're going through, give it until September, because we are at the checkpoint now in a Gemini where every seed you sowed in March is breaking through the ground over the next 30 days and will harvest by September, North Node to South Node. So that's very significant, especially knowing that you are, of course, Scorpio rising. As a Taurus sun, 1 degrees, your sun is square Pluto, right? Uranus is getting ready to leave your 7th house and go into Gemini. So there is a huge innovation of your relationships that the cycle we had last week in your 7th house will integrate through August. And then by November, it's going to transform. And why that's significant, you were born with Uranus on your rising. I'm going to give you an alien construct article where you can check out Uranian instrument alien. Okay. For those of you who are born with Uranus on the rising, you can channel higher frequency beings. And the reason why that's significant for those of you born late 70s through the 80s, Saturn is opposite your Saturn. Uranus is opposite your Uranus. You guys, specifically 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, you guys are the only ones going through this unique harvest, and it looks like it too. It's a huge deal. So Uranus opposite your Uranus is very significant because it's going to reflect how this innovation is manifesting directly towards others. This genius you've purely expressed as a social personality. You're now manifesting how you read people's body language instantly, how you express this uniqueness that you can hold space in others with partnerships. So this is spilling into Gemini, transforming who you trust. As a Taurus sun, the value of who you trust. And as a divine Pisces moon, elite soul, which we see yours is 0 degrees, is tapping into this innate divine understanding of beliefs of your value. And that's what I like about your chart. 0 degree Pisces moon, 1 degree Pisces sun. You are the divine producer, exact 200 or 300 degree sextile before the subsequent new moon in Taurus that happened like a week after you were born. And you have Chiron in Taurus. So you are natural healing. You heal with the touch, with your presence. Of course, in the perfect world, probably, but realistically, you know what I'm saying? It may put yourself in a position to bring up these issues to see who's matching with the sense of innovation for you versus who wants to hold you back because you intimidate them. Okay. So confront these challenges, and you want to see these challenges as positive tension. Okay. Working on your online presence to support and help mothers heal and be empowered is beautiful, because once we step into August, your awareness is going to be in your 10th house, seeing how your online course and what you're working on impacts your society. So while Mars is transiting there, you're taking the actions in Leo ahead of time to prepare for this. And that's where this Gemini season is going to not only manifest value for you, but expand who more you trust, transform this sense of wealth of who you're sharing your ideas with. And I think is going to really begin to show you how everything is changing for the better, especially with Saturn and Neptune on your Venus and Mercury at the end of Pisces and Aries. So you've been aligning, and everything you've been planning is just going to begin to change towards that direction because you already set it up for success. Okay. So that being said, last but not least, we do have Sharon, Lady Stone. Okay. Sun, Taurus, Aries moon, Sag rising. As a Sag rising, Gemini season is your 7th house of partnerships. And the reason why that's so significant is because now you have spent the entire year evolving who you keep in your partnership house, right? 1 degree Saturn in Cap. Oh, you're born 88. So of course, Venus 29, you have Chiron in Gemini, healing angelic communication, which means you trigger the hell out of people by just communicating with them, because in a perfect world, the truth people would love, but the truth pisses people off for it, sets them free. So Jupiter is on your Chiron right now. As all this goes into the 8th as a Sag rising, even though progressed, you are a Capricorn rising. The progression in mind, your progressed sun is at the end of Gemini. So you're getting ready to be this portal of evolution, especially relative to the way you truth blast people. Now, as a progressed Capricorn rising, Gemini is now your behavior. How is it that your mindset is influencing other people's behaviors? Because now once we step into Cancer season, the shifting of your mindset of what you communicate with others is going to feel forward into now expanding this progressed relationship aspect. So this whole past year up until now was changing your whole life, changing other people's lives and behaviors, but also locking into this shift of how your belief systems impact the way you live, and how that's going to expand who you feel you're ready to move forward with, making relationships very significant with you and for you moving forward. Knowing that you have the North Node in Pisces, you're all people born in 88 and 87, but really 1988 and the first part of 89, you guys are going through your North Node Pisces return. So this is going to prepare you for September. That's going to unlock your MC Virgo and analysis of how you achieve success, to go back to this foundation of belief systems that support your vision. The coolest thing here, I'm born 1990. So shout out to 1990 gang. We have our Saturn 24, 23 degrees Cap. You have your Saturn 1 degree Capricorn. If you're born 88, this is very important, because now Saturn is 1 degree Aries. Unlike us who have to wait until 2027, born 1990, you born 2 years before us are getting it 2 years earlier, 2025. So your 1 degree Saturn is squaring 1 degree Saturn Aries. We're looking at you guys because we're next up on the chopping block, and you're getting ready to integrate this karma that you have 2nd house Capricorn, and you're embodying this gangster as a progressed Capricorn, which is going to take this integrity over success and order, and it's going to put you in a position to now integrate the authenticity. Yeah, it's in its fall, but now you're pushing forward the originality of how you will take your Saturn and the return you've had that you've activated up into this point and push forward. 93, I'm gonna do special videos for the Saturn videos, because this is how I'm gonna start talking about the generations with the Saturn cycles and with the Pluto cycles. Especially once I get this app up, we're gonna bring back those secret life of the initiation, the secret paths. I'm gonna bring all those videos back. I just wanted to organize it more. But Sharon, this looks really beautiful. You're harvesting everything since last year, December, and you're going to put yourself in a position to realistically, tap into all this. So you guys, we're going to step into the new moon ceremony. I'm going to do one more chart really quick. Shout out to Chama. Aquanqua. All I know is that this is Igbo. As a fellow Igbo man, I recognize your name. Chama. I think Chama is the name of the Pisces lady that I was obsessed with when I was going to church in like my teens. In my teens. And we would go to this like Nigerian church, and I know her, and she was a Pisces lady. Her name was Cha. I was like, so I had the biggest crush on her. Shout out to her, by the way. So yes, let us see really quick. 12:08 a.m. Cleveland. Okay, so let's see what we got. So, and thanks for reminding me. I appreciate you. So basically, what we see for you is a Libra moon. Oh my God, you're a gangster. You're a gangster. So you were born with Sun, Saturn in Sagittarius. Oh my God. And Uranus. You're a whole alien, my friend. You're an entire alien. This is crazy. So please read this alien construct article, because you have very powerful alien constructs. The 87-86 Sagittarius pipeline needs to be studied. Andrew Tate and Action Bronson are two examples of this. Action Bronson is an older OG, but like Andrew Tate is an example of the 86-87 Sag. You guys are the most diabolical Sagittarians to exist, but you're also some of the most magical and powerful. This is top G energy, top god, top goddess, and it's the ruler, the reaper of Saturn here, and then Uranus of innovation. So you guys are here to collectively innovate vision for an entire world and collective. That's why I talked about Andrew Tate, because he literally did that. Like, he is a voice that has innovated how a lot of younger men look at the concept of masculinity, which is a Sagittarian theme, or really just your vision, philosophy. It's very philosophical. So you having this, of course, as a Virgo rising, you were born in 87, you have North Node in Pisces, you're going through your nodal return. So this Gemini season is fulfilling the completion of an evolution cycle that you began in 2016 when Jupiter was leaving Virgo. Now, since that, boom, it's in your 10th on your Chiron. You're evolving your angelic healing communication that you mercilessly trigger other people with, because you have Mercury, Sun, Saturn, Uranus in the 4th house and Sag. You see who people privately are, but you can make people uncomfortable relative to what you communicate about what you see they're meant to achieve. And you're using your own personality as a resource to unlock divinity towards others, to unlock the belief of what you're meant to achieve with other people, how people's beliefs are meant to change around what you're communicating. So that's one way to look at this Gemini season. It's opposite your Sag Sun. So your awareness of partnerships in the 10th house, how relationships with people bring you to success or hold you back from it. All right. And once again, now that Jupiter was in your 1st house, 2016, in the 10th in Gemini, you're completing that cycle over the next 3 years. So this is great milestone victory, especially as now Saturn and Neptune are in your 7th. And as Jupiter squares that in the 10th, it's going to really look at the serious quality of relationships you are holding accountable towards others, and how that expands the liquidity of the success and who you keep around you moving forward. All right, so we're done here. I'm going to open up a new stream for this new moon ceremony. Thank you, Rainy Garden. Shout out to Instagram fam. You guys are amazing. I love you is the most popular spell cast on us. Oh my God. And yeah, we're going to finish off here. I'm going to do a new live right now and we'll meet for the ceremony. All right. Peace out, guys. Yay, yay.